Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Ramblin Down Rainbow Road. I am Grace E. Bowen. This is my guest today, Shannon Reilly. Shannon and I became friends when I was working at Urban Art Space. I feel like we worked there at the same time.
Yeah.
And Shannon's like a super sweet person and is one of those lovely people that everyone in Columbus knows because she's just a joy to be around. Your pronouns are she, her, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So do you want to talk a little bit about your art practice and life and stuff?
Sure. Well, I don't know how far I should go back, but I have always been a creative. I moved to Columbus to go to CCAD, and I went there for about a year and a half, and then I ended up transferring on over to OSU, and then working at Urban Art Space with Grace. And when I did that transition, I kind of left my practice a little bit, but I was still creating, but not creating in a way that it was like a constant. It was constant. So I feel like I kind of lost a lot of that, but I still find myself creating. Sorry, I'm like looking at my cat attacking me.
It's going after a fly. That's a very good cat.
I did actually caught it.
Oh, sick! Really? Nice. Should I show the friends? Look at this cat being a cat.
Oh, wow, that's brutal. Yeah, so I still make work, but it's, as I said, it's not as much as I used to. A lot of my work has been kind of like quick things. I did this like project where I was doing like continuous line drawings for, I don't know, I think I got up to like 60 days, but it was like some sort of challenge I wanted to like give myself, but I didn't know what to do it of, and I find a lot of my interest in like being interested in like humans and like having connections, and so honestly I ended up just doing like this continuous line drawing of like myself for like, which sounds like egotistical.
No, it doesn't. Like, you're always in your body,
yeah,
so why
totally
not use that as a subject?
Oh,
that
yeah, absolutely. So I ended up just doing portraits of myself, and I liked it because it was just quick, and it kind of like got myself out of this mindset of, you know, work, and I can get rid of that too. But yeah, just the mindset of always like just like coming home from work, and it kind of just like gave me this time to work on stuff, and then I kind of transitioned into like wanting to learn more about Adobe Suite, and so I have been like making these little projects, these little zines for my friends for like their birthdays, and they've been like super silly and really fun to make, but a lot like I'm like taking out the entire like background. I'm like using things that I have, so I've been like taking photos of my friends and then cutting out through like Photoshop the entire background, and then just like putting it into the zine, and it just like looks really silly, but it's fun. It's fun, and then I don't know. I'm always like I do like a lot of like yarn work, so I do like make hats and I crochet a lot. So it's just like I'm always constantly doing stuff, whether it's like drawing or I don't know. But I also I like working with my hands. I can like do like a lot. I like woodworking too, which is cool.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah.
I love woodworking.
Yeah. So.
But you taught yourself a lot of the Creative Suite, right?
Yes.
And so now you have a job doing that. Which I feel like that's like you don't have to go to school to learn a program to get a job.
No, absolutely. I think it's just more if it's something that you are, something that like maybe you have, and you just kind of like are very curious about it. It's relatively easy to just like YouTube and like figure out like how can I do these edits or the most efficient way ever, and that's something that I'm still constantly learning, and I really, really do enjoy it because it's, I don't know, I kind of don't mind sitting in front of a screen for a certain amount of time. I just get like very caught up in like I sometimes I like find myself sitting in front of a screen for too long that it might be unhealthy, but I
mean, that seems subjective. I think it's subjective.
Yeah, but then it's good to like do these other projects that are off the screen to kind of like grasp that, you know, I shouldn't be in front of the screen all the time. So yeah.
Did you bring some of your zines down?
Yeah, I did. I have them over here. Usually
I would just like point people to a link in the description, but Shannon doesn't have this stuff online, which is totally understandable.
Yeah, I'm not really a working artist. I just create things.
You are a working artist. Let's expand our definition of what a working artist is.
I do consider myself an artist, definitely. But I guess, I don't know. Yeah, tell me.
And like the stuff you do to make money also adds skill to the stuff you do for your friends and the stuff that matters to you. So like that's important.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of my work kind of is based on like my friends, and so these zines. I'm gonna use this one, but I ended up like making these series, and this is the one that Grace has is the first one, and it has my friend Alyssa is dressing up, and I kind of like made it into this magazine, and I have my friend Alyssa dressing up in all of these alter egos. And,
I love this.
So I just like photographed her, and this was my first project, and I ended up like taking a tablecloth from Party City and
using it as a green screen.
But I later found out that I'm already cropping out the image, so it really doesn't make any sense to use it. And I like had these like crazy light system where I just was like taking off all of the light. What am I talking about?
Oh, so you like lit these shoots?
I lit them, but like in the jankiest way ever. I had like things on top of crates just to like.
I mean, that's what you got. We got this whole thing on a stack of magazines right now.
Yeah, so, like, yeah. So yeah, I was just like honestly like making what I can make with what I have, and then so those were the two people that helped me out, and then yeah. So it's just like super fun stuff, and then this is the most recent one that I handed out this past week, and so I had my friend Kelly just dress up in some of her best outfits with some.
Is that Spencer?
Yeah.
Oh god, killer.
Yeah, and they're just like Q&A, so they're super simple and pretty informal. And then I have them just like kind of getting, I don't know, they just have been like really fun, and then I ended up making like a really funny like alter ego.
Because she dresses in drag sometimes, right?
Yeah, Kelly is probably the hottest
drag king.
Drag king, yeah, totally. Yeah, and then I have some other friends and definitely alter egos. Mm-hmm. So it's been...
These are like, and not to get like too heavy really quick, but we've lost a few really important people in our community, and these are like, I would love to have this of a few people who aren't around anymore.
Yeah. No,
like, these are really important.
Yeah, I don't know. I find a lot of inspiration in a lot of my friends, and so a lot of my work kind of comes from that. And yeah, here's the back. Getting them printed off at Kinko's. Maybe I'll get sponsored at the end of this video.
Yeah, I would love to see what I can help you with that, and help myself with that.
And I also have like these portrait drawings that maybe think of Marco. So.
Oh yeah. Wait, do you have extras of those? Because I never picked one up.
I do, yeah.
I would love it if I could have one. Not to put you on blast right now, but...
Totally.
Alright, the cat is playing with mine.
But yeah, these are just some of my friends that I've done drawings of. Here's Kelly, who is in an alter ego.
Oh, yes.
Of Kid Rock. I mean, I guess it's not an alter ego. That's my grandma.
Oh, that's lovely.
And then, and I try to like make them personal to the person that's in the photo.
Wait, let's see that one, Melissa. Is that okay?
Yeah, totally.
Alyssa's such a character, too.
Yeah, she's great. And then this is my friend Autumn.
Oh, Anna's a dear.
And then our friend Marco.
Yeah, this is Marco. He was a legend.
Yeah. And all of them are, like, really intimidating to work with, and,
because it, like, means so much to
yeah. Like, the Marco one, I have recreated probably, like, 5 different times.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, a lot of the times, like, the photos, I'm kind of working off some different images, or I'm just, like, or I am kind of, like, you know, tracing them off of some images that already exist. So I don't know, but then everything else is completely free-handed.
And as long as the camera's off the monitor, behind us are a lot of show posters that are also like sort of an archive of Columbus, and like they sort of embody a lot of our history in the punk community, at least I think. Like, everyone remembers the poster from the last Villa Kula show.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, a lot of people still have that. So, it's also an important memento of, like, the community. And it's a nice thing to have that your friend, like, put a lot of time into, and a thing that, like, people can embody their own style in doing that. And like, you can spend a lot of time on it or not. It's just, like, it's really cool.
Yeah, no. I love coming downstairs and seeing all this work because it's very inspirational.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Should we get into the gameplay?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Let's hope this camera's the... Okay, good. All right. So, Shannon has experience with Mario Kart. Oh, I think you're player 1. So you need
to... So, I'm
just like this.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we might do... Before we've been doing 50cc, we might be doing like 100cc or something. Is it not going for you? Okay.
This one?
Yeah, you want to do 100, right?
What do you typically...
Yeah, I'm down. Beat me. I've been beating other people. I feel bad about it.
Okay, wait.
If we could go balls to the wall. If it doesn't work, we can just...
There we go. And then
or breeze to the shutters. Oh, we're still on the... Yeah, this is... I don't know. Why does it sync so late? That's annoying. Here, press L and R on your controller. Let's see if we can get this to work.
Maybe the top or...
Rip. What's going on? I hope my things aren't at a bad rate. They're like half full. Can I see it?
Yeah, sure.
Doing it live, folks!
I'm gonna move this and wait for Applejack.
Applejack is a really cute cat. Wait, we wanted 100, right? Let's do 150.
Yeah, I'm into that.
Alright. 2 players are also supported. Well, that's what I'm trying to do. Big rip. No, I don't want to. Sync button. My apologies, folks. You don't see any need to use these things necessarily, but I like the ergonomics of it. Alright, that one's paired. So, I don't know how to start a conversation. Alright, I think we're good. Cool. So, try pressing that one. Alright, sick. I'm going to turn the volume up on the monitor. Whoops. Oh, big rip. I just turned the monitor off. Wow. So this is fun that on the volume, there's this like weird third-party monitor, I'll put it. The up is on the left and the down is on the right.
Oh yeah, that's not weird. Also, Grace has this screen or the monitor held up on a
stack of magazines.
I'll show the gram.
If anyone's still watching on the gram, it's really great. The monitor just...
It's stopped, but it's right here.
Yo, yeah, the menstrual pad, because I made the huge mistake of traveling on my period, which is something I would never want to do, but the timing called for it this time. Sorry, chat. I'm gonna call the Instagram stream chat. because that's what they do on Twitch.
Okay.
So you can. I like the people I follow on Twitch. They're really good people. Polygon and Patrick Gill and stuff.
Oh wait, sorry. You want to?
So one of us pressed B.
I accidentally did. So how do I go back? That bottom.
No, press right. I'm gonna do Furry Peach again.
That's great. When I was younger, when I like
Press the
played
right
this
button
game when
again.
I was younger, Peach was definitely my go-to, which is.
I mean, why not?
Yeah,
She's
why
good.
I don't know. I'm feeling Toad.
I like playing with motorcycles, mostly just for the aesthetic. No lie, because I secretly want a motorcycle.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm seeing Toad. That one is really funny. That one's pretty cool. I'm following really.
Toad is such a badass on a motorcycle.
I'm really tempted with all of this right now. I think I would ride this. Wait, what? How do those wheels get tiny?
I don't know. They're super tiny.
This motorcycle on the tiniest wheels. Okay, why am I? This is really important.
Take time. It is important. So sometimes I like to play on a Rainbow Road track just for the name of the show, but we don't have to. We can play whatever we want.
Let's do it.
I think you're in commandos for
Oh wait,
whatever.
how do I go down? Is this just?
Oh
is
yeah,
there a
so
set?
each tournament is these 4 courses.
Okay, so this would be the rainbow course.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. Lightning cup.
I think the one above is a different Rainbow Road too,
Oh.
but we can do this. This is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to make it really.
Maybe this isn't getting picked up on the computer. It would be nice if they cancel that.
So A and.
We also just talked for an hour about life and stuff, so I'm gonna have to try to think about other stuff to talk about.
Well, we can bring some of that stuff back up because we weren't recording.
Yeah. Liz and I talk a lot about community and sort of an anarchist ideal of what a community can look like because of our participation in the collective, but also just talking about I feel like you're really ingrained in the community, even though like people don't see you at shows all the time. I feel like you've participated in a lot of important things, such as like urban art space and the punk community to an extent. So like, if we were to brainstorm ways that current communities, especially in smaller cities where it's harder to like run DIY spaces or to get funding for stuff, like what would you want to see more of? Because I complain and rant on a lot, but I would love to hear people's ideas.
You mean not like bringing the
Like supporting the arts.
yeah.
Maybe probably obviously in a DIY sense, but maybe not necessarily.
I mean there are all these different like studio spaces in Columbus, which is really amazing, and it would be really cool to have them, you know, keep their space, but have some sort of relationship where, you know, they are working towards a goal of like maybe putting on an annual exhibition of all of the artists that are in the studio spaces, and then also inviting artists that don't have that opportunity to have a studio space. So I think that would be really engaging for just like the Columbus community to have that support, and also artists meeting one another, and also, you know, maybe supporting one another and helping them out with different projects or helping them like further their practice.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I honestly just made that up at the top of my head.
No, that's
but I think a lot of it's good to have different communities working together instead of completely hiding and just having.
We're also
Yeah, and that's what I always try to like kind of take right away from.
Yeah, fair.
But it's easy to stay in your clique too.
Or to just like, both of us were talking about how we're like pretty introverted and tend to self-isolate.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm excited about doing the stream. But it would also be fun if, I don't know. There were Whoa!
Did I really just
Well, yeah, just because I put hours into this game doesn't mean I'm good at it.
I fell off like so many times that I was not expecting.
I was too worried about the sound to pay attention.
Okay.
Like Band in a Hat. We could just talk about the history of Columbus.
Yeah, sure.
Band in a Hat is was I think you're in control. Because right, yeah, was a really cool thing where people would be invited to like Facebook group and then have their names put in a hat and what instruments they could play, and then people were chosen based on what instruments they were willing to play. You didn't have to have any experience in like playing music or songwriting or singing or whatever. I was in a band called Misandry that was born out of Band in a Hat, and it was pretty sick. I still have to put out our recordings. But like one of our band members is an artist, and she was talking with a gallerist and like another artist during a studio visit about our bands because it was like pertinent to her work and to what she saw in this other artist's work. And I was like, and then I'm friends with this other artist, and he texted me like with song lyrics, and I was like, how do you know about this weird punk band I was in? That was like a fun project, but nothing. I was totally watching you and not my own.
That happens to me all the time.
So that's another point I want to make when I'm talking with people is that like if you're trying to be an artist and you think you need to like spend all this time alone in your studio to do stuff, like that's not necessarily the case. You need to like have other interests and like a life outside of the studio. That informs your work, because like art is performance is life sort of thing. Like, you know, I believe that to an extent. I also believe that to the extent that if you want to make work, like you're probably gonna have to be a good person to make it work, or like expose yourself to new ideas to make it work.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And did you play only one show?
No, we played several shows. It was fun.
Yeah, so that whole Band in a Hat thing was really amazing to the community, and also, just helps other people just, learn more about other people that are, totally. And I think communities like need stuff like that too. And like what I was saying with like the whole like different studio spaces coming together and everything, like it's kind of the same thing of like working with one another. And I don't know, I think I like that a lot.
I wonder if not to say that like I followed through on all of this stuff I'm espousing right now, like, you know, I learned by making mistakes, and that's why I'm trying to preach, because I want other people to learn from my mistakes before they waste time making them themselves. But what was the point I was even trying to make about that? Oh, that like I also feel like if people are up to organizing, like you should try doing it, because I think a lot of the time organizing for stuff ends up falling on the same people because people expect those people to keep organizing like year after year. And it's a lot of work to put up a production like that and to put stuff together like that. So if you're thinking about starting something in your community, like just do it. And the good thing about like the DIY ethos is that failure is built into the expectations of the ethos. And like Chris Gethard is one of my favorite comedians, and he espouses this belief of like fail well, so that you know you tried something, you know you did your best at it, and you know that you're gonna learn something from it. Because that's the other thing about like art and creativity and problem solving and everything, is that you need to fail. I told some person the other night, the person I was talking about earlier, who I got weird vibes for, but they were trying to get advice out of me about like how to make video work, because they make video work, and I was like, everything you make is going to be worse than the next thing you make, which is why you need to keep making. Which is sort of like a brutal philosophy I developed from a traumatizing design school experience. But it's true, I think.
No, yeah, I think, you have to put yourself through that vulnerable part to like actually learn something from what you're creating. And unless then you won't like learn. So it's just like if you are in a class and you're having a critique, it's just always, it's kind of just you're constantly getting critiqued or you're critiquing yourself in a sense. So yeah.
Sometimes it's hard when people don't speak up and crits.
Oh yeah, totally. But I think you just need to trust yourself and figure out, I'm going to just keep creating and then figure out within the next project what I'm going to do differently. And you get that a lot throughout, I don't know, even like when I cook or bake, like I'm always like constantly, like after I make something, I'm like, oh, I can add something like this. And it's kind of like the same with like creating stuff. Like, oh, I'm going to do this technique next time. So
I was cooking for a friend recently, and they were like impressed. I feel like I'm tooting my own horn a lot, but they were impressed with how I was able to be like, oh, I wanted to make this dessert, but I don't have the ingredients, but I do the ingredients for this other dessert if we twist it in another way. And they were like, oh, that's so cool. Yeah, it's a creative exercise.
No, I definitely go off the like philosophy of just like, make with what you have, and then you, I don't know.
I was almost just looking at your screen.
I was just like accelerating when the countdown didn't go on.
One thing I am curious about is you've worked in several different galleries around Columbus. What has do you have anything to like say or talk about with regards to like working within that environment?
Sure. Yeah. I had the opportunity to work for a university. We both did, and
I named it already. So.
Yeah. So it was really keep falling in lava. So that was like a really an incredible opportunity for me to work for a university gallery, just because I ended up staying with them for about 5 years. I interned with them when I was over at CCAD. And cool. So I did like everything from exhibitions to what I ended up doing to like so tours and education. I did some video work and photography, and then I ended up working a little bit full time for them after I graduated and doing some stuff for like the Royal Shakespeare Company partnership. So I was like doing some theater work too, which was really different and cool. So I got this opportunity to like work with a lot of different I guess teams within the gallery, and I definitely still do a lot of exhibition work, and the gallery that I'm currently in, I do a little bit of everything, but it's more of like also learning how to sell work too, because at a university we don't really sell work. It's more of like we have a lot of students work, and then other exhibitions that come through like the 5-year layout that we set up like years in advance. So I don't know really what else, but yeah, I have like all of this experience working for galleries, and I really do love it. And I definitely have learned my craft with working in a gallery setting for those years.
What do you mean by that?
Knowing what's comfortable with me, and also working, like having these relationships with artists, and I have like these fun, like personal interactions with the artists, because I'm not just like doing email correspondence, but I'm also hanging their work with them, and hanging work with an artist is like kind of intimate. And it's whether like the artist is going to be they like know how to hang art, or at the university a lot of the artists didn't really know how to hang their art, so it's like a back and forth, and you're always constantly like making things work. So I feel like sometimes I'm a guy for when I'm in exhibitions because you're just trying to, you know, work with what you have and
it's a big thing it meant.
yeah, totally. Yeah. And that was such a great collective to have.
Thanks. I appreciate you saying that.
Man, this is just, I'm just going down now.
That's okay.
Cat pee.
Don't feel obligated to look at me even though we're talking. I appreciate that respect, but
no.
Focus on the case.
Okay, fine. Jeez. Grace is calling
it
out.
Sorry.
I think, yeah, I'm like an Aries, right? Like rising sign.
Wait, what's your sun sign?
I'm a Cancer. So
I asked that like I know what things mean.
I don't. I honestly don't. I'm Aries rising. I don't know what that means too.
I forgot to tell you that you can, you know how you do the like drifting thing with the right bumper? You can do that when you go off jumps, and it's like in this course the block guys are gonna disrupt the course sometimes, so if you jump off that too, that'll give you a little boost.
Man, yeah, this one is amazing.
Isn't it?
I want to be on this course in real life.
That's why. Like the Rainbow Road courses were always the ones that stuck out. It's got obvious. Nice. Big grip. There's.
What was like your first interaction with Mario Kart?
So when I was a kid, my oldest brother wanted to, come up here. Do that. No circles. My oldest brother snuck a SNES into the house because my parents didn't allow video games because they thought they were a waste of time. Lo and behold, that brother is a software programmer and I am a media person. So, my shorts, mom did. But I also don't remember much from my childhood, so probably just like playing GameCube at people's houses or N64 at people's houses. Yeah, I always. And then it's also one of those things where like you think you're bad at it, but I don't know if it's just getting older or appreciating like the ethos of the Nintendo company, but I feel like it's more accessible to me. Or I just don't give a shit about it. I'm not worried about being bad.
No, yeah, same here, but I like can really I used to like get really into Mario Kart when I was younger. But,
what system did you have it on?
We had.
My bad, I'm totally missing it.
It's okay. No, I'm done. I want to do this one again.
It was really rude of me to feel bad about that. I just want to turn the assist things off.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, we had a Nintendo 64, and my brother actually bought it, and so he's like 7 years older than I, and every time we would play on it, he would make sure that we washed our hands with soap. And
that's like, smart, because that stuff's worth money.
Yeah, he was like he was like very protective of everything that he owned at that time, and I bring this up still to this day, and he like pretends that he doesn't remember it, but I definitely think. Because I still bring it up, like if I should still wash my hands whenever I'm like using his stuff.
That's funny.
Yeah, but we played like on Nintendo 64 all the time. We played on the original Nintendo a lot growing up, and then we got the Nintendo 64, and it was kind of like that for like life.
Yeah, I guess that speaks to how well that system was crafted and designed.
Yeah. I would like
stood the test of time.
I would like go to other friends' house and play like the cube, and I like couldn't understand it. I felt like there's something like really nice to like the controllers and like
the middle thing in the controller too.
Yeah,
right?
Like it felt like so comfortable, and it felt like you were actually like very engaged with just even the controller itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. So just
let's do current video. You want to play as well with you this time?
What a stick. So, whoa.
Got a new car. Let's see what it is.
Wait, it switches every time? You get more?
No, if you just, they give you game points in the form of coins, press A.
Whoa. What? Is that like a tractor?
This is so
Oh, wait. No, definitely not.
Oh, look, you have a different sticker. I have a Waluigi sticker. You have a twin sticker. I want to read the cards.
Yeah, I see that. Oh my gosh.
I feel like those tiny wheels are low-key OP. They always end up like working the best for everything.
Not this round,
We're also live on Instagram right now, so if anyone wants to ask any questions, if anyone's still watching, go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Alright. Is there like an option where I can do Rainbow Road all 4 courses?
Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be amazing. So what was the other one that you suggested? This
Yeah,
one?
that's the other Rainbow Road, if you want to check it out.
Okay.
We call that a posture check again. Because everyone, like, hour after hour,
I know.
doing this.
I'm always hunching.
What else? If you, what's your like dream career look like, or do you not even have?
Oh, that is so hard. I feel like
Sorry.
I'm always constantly thinking of what would be really awesome for me to do. And I really find like a fascination with like jobs that are more predominantly masculine.
Same.
And
What's up with that?
I don't know, but yeah, it's funny because I don't know. I just have always really wanted loved that, but I have been like fantasizing about this idea of like just like giving up on everything and just like becoming like a woodworker.
Yeah, I'm gonna pause real quick.
Sure.
I've had that fantasy too, for sure.
Yeah.
This is how you can turn that stuff off if you want to.
How do I do
So the left
this?
bumper, left button. So that is like auto run. The computer will run it.
Yeah.
That is the tilty thing. If you want tilty on, go that way. If you want it off,
Oh.
press the button again. This is right bumper, and that's like coarse bumpers, like the bowling thing.
I'm gonna just keep those on.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, so that was like one, and then also another one would just be, I mentioned, yeah, just like design stuff. So learning more about design and taking that maybe a different level, but I guess that's not as much masculine as other things. But yeah, definitely like have been really fantasizing about also like becoming a craftswoman. And I know it's so stupid. And then also I've been like really interested in owning a skateboard, skate park, like an indoor skate park.
Come skate.
Yeah, because every time I mean, we do have an indoor skate park here in Columbus, and it's great, but it's kind of intimidating. I mean, actually, a lot of people that are there are really amazing, but
the people who go there to skate can be jerks.
It's just intimidating for if you're like a female or at first, and it'd be really cool to have like a female that owns a skate park.
Mm-hmm.
I think, but yeah, so those are some things that have been like kind of just going through my mind, but I don't think
I feel like with your experience doing administrative stuff at a gallery, like it's not my course. Once you understand how to like send invoices and run a small business and just basic stuff like that, then I can help jumpstart other stuff. That's been my experience with freelance work.
Yeah, and I like have really thought about this idea, of like if I were to open up a business, or if I were to open up a skate park, it would also then have that like a side room of maybe I could make that woodworking job happen and have like a studio space for that where I can like have that be a part of it. But I also really love teaching, and that's something that I definitely would love to get back into.
At what level do you think? Or what environment, I guess, is in this hierarchical question?
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I think it would be cool to, I don't know. I thought about all ages, because I definitely do appreciate all of it and all abilities too.
Yeah, Urban Art Space was really good about that.
Mm-hmm. So there isn't really one. Maybe we would like start at like a younger age first, and then maybe possibly move up. But I don't really. I'm comfortable with all of them.
Get it, Applejack. Get that ant.
Dude, Applejack, I'm seeing
On
some vicious.
He just wants to impress.
Yeah.
I don't know, I could go in about the development and business prospects of this.
No, yeah.
Um,
I think it's intimidating for everyone who has, started their own business. I give you so much credit, because how do you even like make that step to doing something like that? It seems so vulnerable and
ready to
I don't know. Yeah. You need to like be prepared for anything.
We could talk about being women in traditionally masculine spaces.
Yeah.
Because while things have gotten better, it's still a barrier.
Oh, totally. What experiences do you have?
Well, like in production, the Me Too movement has definitely had benefits that I can see. And I'm in a lot of like women working in TV and film Facebook groups where people can. It's a safe space where people can like post jobs and get advice, and just like vent about stuff. And I think people are definitely watching how they act and what they say, and trying, I don't know. And then I think also what people aren't talking about is that people who wanted to be more inclusive and more sensitive and to foster environments that are more open for everybody probably felt like peer pressure not to, or peer pressure to be like, oh, why are you being such a sensitive person about it? But those people are now like encouraged to actually do what they wanted to do the whole time, instead of feeling like they're going to be punished for it, which is pretty cool. And like whenever I go into B&H, which is a big photo video store in New York, I do my research on what I'm buying before I go in there, and I do want to double check with the people who work there that I'm getting the right tool for the job. But I have to go in there like knowing what I'm talking about, and knowing what my plans B and C are, and knowing how the workflow works, so that they don't like just mansplain to me all day.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't know. I wish I could. I'm trying to describe for people who think it's bullshit that it's not bullshit.
Yeah. No, I get it. Like I feel. I mean, it's good to like be going into any environment well prepared, but sometimes I hate having to ask questions, like, because I know the person that I am going to ask will be probably mansplaining to me that like, so why are you getting this, or like they like after you did all your research, it's just like they're like questioning everything, and it's just like seems like it's more like in a like a do you really know your shit kind of way, and it's just really frustrating when you feel very like insecure about something that you're very passionate about.
And it just makes you feel like, why should I bother sometimes?
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Liz have been talking a lot about like toxic masculinity and what causes it and how to, because like I talked a lot about my interest in media earlier before we were recording, and another interest in media I have and that Liz shares is where what is the what is
Covers?
oh yeah, when you're like hovering and looks to sideways, it's fine. Is what in our culture has taught us that toxic masculinity is okay and is to be expected and is the norm, and how does that negatively affect not only women in obvious ways and people who don't identify either way, but also men, and why is it that men don't see, or I think they're like incapable of seeing how much they're suffering, which is probably in its own way what's like a patronizing, but we're from with a maternal prefix, that word. Which is probably that kind of way of looking at it. Because my whole thing is like, I'm in touch with my emotions, and my life has been better by doing that because of this, and this. But when someone comes to a place of devaluing emotions and assuming that they are useless or inconvenient, as I used to think in high school, then like you can't convince that person that they're suffering if they don't think they're suffering.
Yeah.
So that's something I've been thinking
about too. Yeah, that's good. I feel like I have been kind of fortunate. I feel like a lot of I guess like men who I have been surrounded by have been like very in tune and also really wanting you to succeed or like putting you outside of your comfort zone as in like progressing in something that you're really interested in. But I definitely there's that culture that still exists, and watch out, fucking dude, because it's not your fucking game anymore. So it's always like very exciting though to like see yourself like succeed in the masculine, I guess like environments.
Yeah, one of my working environments happens to be a pretty queer space because a lot of the people who I work with are pretty queer, which is an interesting community to work with in production because it's like a lot of people who typically don't like. There are not a lot of people are like sort of have a cis hetero vibe, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it's like an interesting sort of observation to make of like how do we communicate with each other with sensitivity and care, and like how do we in a stressful situation like correct each other without being mean, and I don't know, stuff like that. But my men in my life in the past have been like not super great, but those same men are now changing a lot because of like personal reasons in their life. They're realizing that they need a change, or that they have been influenced by things that they now see are bad. And I'm happy that I'm like old and mature enough to help them do that and to encourage them to like continue down that path in whatever way is best for them.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people kind of are a little bit more kind of like scared about like to be like a PC or scared of like the PC environment.
And don't get me wrong, like queers can be super judgmental people who like are toxic in their own ways, and like I have a libertarian streak that does tell me that sometimes like PC culture can go too far or whatever. And like I've seen that on Twitter, and I've experienced that in different spaces online mostly and in real life. Sorry, but what were you saying?
I mean no, just I agree because I feel like how far I do find myself like being very PC to an extent, but I feel like I am also like comfortable and like toning that down a bit too.
Yeah.
But I think some people do feel like they're like conscious or like or they're not conscious, or like they feel kind of intimidating putting themselves in like an unfamiliar setting with people that they don't know, understand like pronouns or.
Oh yeah.
And so, going back to like masculine and I don't know, just like maybe just not understanding, but I don't know.
But it's also that's another like barrier of entry. It's when people judge you for being ignorant, like that sucks. And you're not gonna. Yeah, that's the kind of toxic shit.
Yeah.
And we are living in a time that feels like a gauntlet, sort of. It feels like we are either going to come out of these few years stronger or in a post-apocalyptic future. Like, we're either going to come out of it understanding why people voted for Trump and what informed that decision, or we're going to come out of it just hating each other more than we did already. Yeah. And liberals, we think we're on the right side of history, and we think that we know what's best for everybody, but that's just, like, literally not the case, especially when you talk about it.
Oh, totally, yeah. And, I feel like all of my friends are very liberal, and it's sometimes, I like, don't understand conservative people at times. Like, it just kind of, like, I just want to shake them. But, I mean, part of me, like, I'm just kind of curious, like, why? Like, how do I kind of get that understanding, but also, like,
and that's another thing I've been thinking about a lot is, oh, holy Christ. Alright, I guess this rig is not good for getting a control of the car. This is frustrating. Is that someone walking on the other side of the house?
Yeah,
wow.
The house like shakes.
We're in a duplex and I just felt someone walking through the floor. Is that there are some like super conservative Fox News Trump sort of to the point of being bigoted people who are close to me in my life, and I have gotten to know why they are the way they are because I was able to be like open and not judgmental, but that was only at a point when I was able to be secure enough in my understanding of how we all like think about things and understand information that their perception of reality did not necessarily impact my perception of reality, or I was able to like have that cognitive dissonance or like dissociation. And so that was only when I felt safe enough to be able to like interrogate these people about their ideas. And we did.
Have you? And
yeah, I didn't change their mind about anything, but I understood them a little bit better.
Sure, yeah. And I mean, sometimes it sucks, but like it's good to like maybe understand like their mindset and understand how backwards it is. But I don't know how.
I would see, and every time I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say like maybe some of their ideas aren't backwards. Some other shit happens.
Yeah,
guys,
I know. Like,
can we not hate other people for no reason?
Yeah, I know. It's hard.
Yeah. I feel like we should wrap up.
Okay.
Because I should be somewhere in 15 minutes. But,
okay. What is the 200?
Alright, do you want to do
wait,
it
no, wait, is that,
Let's just try it.
Is that just like speed levels?
Do it, let's find out.
Okay.
Let's talk about something fun and nice before we do this.
Yeah, because I'm like bummed about
the world and stuff.
Yeah, totally. Wait, how did that just...
Rosalina is
peach.
Blonde scene peach. Your goth girlfriend peach.
Oh my god.
There's these people fun.
So many characters.
I haven't played Splatoon yet. I really want to play it. It seems fun.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I was actually playing Mario Kart on N64 with my brother's friends yesterday, and you could only play as 8 characters. I was like, I forgot.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I'll just stick. Yeah, no.
Lit. It's more of an intimidation thing. Yeah, let's just do this. That's a fun one.
Yeah, you got me like thinking of something else, but I completely
Whoops. Was it about
Oh,
family?
that's actually what I was thinking of. You just reminded me.
What?
I really appreciate you having my controller be like the main controller for this.
Oh,
when I'm like the one that really
yeah,
don't.
now
I really
you
don't
can't see
understand
in the
what I'm
stream,
doing.
but I'm reaching over with a joke. Have you
Okay.
played this Music Park yet?
No. Can we like
Oh,
go
wait.
to that one individually or?
No. Well, it plays in this order, so maybe we should choose something else. What about Warriors Goldmine?
That's the one.
Yeah, it seems like polite to put the main controller in the guest's hand, but they also forget to like flip their stuff. I haven't decided what I want to do.
No, but I know I really appreciate that because I feel like a lot of the times when I am like playing someone's game, it's always like they are in control, and it's just kind of like they will never put you in control because you might not know what you're doing. So
we're 12 years old and playing in my house, so it's all my stuff.
Yeah. So, but no, I appreciate you like letting me have the control.
Maybe I'll keep doing it. Well, it's a nice thing.
I remember this one. I think.
Wow! I forgot that we chose 200cc. I was like, boy, this car is really fast. What's one of your favorite TV shows?
Currently, I've been watching this one show, and it has been this like I've been having a few, like of my friends, or I guess like it's me and my roommate. We like get together, and then another friend of ours, where we've been like watching this show called The Four with DJ Khaled, P Diddy, and this other person named Meghan Trainor, and it's kind of like American Idol, but it's with like more like R&B, rap. A little bit like more, I don't know. Yeah, just like a little bit different, and it's so funny, and I love DJ Khaled. I think he's just amazing. So,
well, what about what he said? Did you see what he said on Twitter recently?
No, what did he say?
Oh no,
maybe I don't want to know. But I just like think he's just so funny.
All right, maybe
I don't want to.
I don't want to like ruin something for you in your life. Just
no.
Before, if people are gonna comment maliciously, just know that Shannon doesn't.
Okay, I definitely don't know about him, but it's just a funny show because.
Well, you like The Rock, right?
Yeah.
Do you like The Rock or DJ Khaled more?
I feel like I don't know.
Wow.
They both are. I don't know. The Rock is definitely goes way back for me. So definitely The Rock, but also not because I know more about him and things that he like is really for. It's like for
The Rock.
Yeah, The Rock.
Interesting. Yeah. Now I kind of want to tell you about this because it'll change your perspective.
Okay. Yeah, and that's what changed my perspective about The Rocks. But I don't know.
And it's germane to our last conversation. But so DJ Khaled posted on like either Snapchat or Twitter that he like doesn't go down on his wife, and the internet was so mad at him about that. I don't think it was out of the blue. It was probably in a certain context, and like Twitter like went off, and and then Dwayne The Rock Johnson was like, "I take pride in any performance I do," or something.
Yes.
Yeah. You should look it up because
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so definitely.
Oh, now we have to play this because this is gonna ruin us. Should we turn bumpers on because we were guaranteed to go off the road?
Sure. How do I?
We have to make the recess to start. Press that up button.
Yeah. But I mean that's just like kind of a funny like show that is just like kind of a stupid show that you find yourself watching. But I definitely do like these two shows that I really have been like really into on Hulu. One's called Blackish, and the other one is called Fresh Off the Boat. And they are just like really, really like clever and very, very, very great to watch.
Nice. I remember watching it on TV.
Yeah, I feel like that was like probably months ago when I was watching the show.
I've been watching gameplay videos, honestly.
That's awesome.
This is why I can't trust my judgment in anything I do in life because I get really into something
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
I might lose interest in it in 6 months.
Oh, totally.
That's not the case for this project.
No.
This is really fun to watch. I know I'm not playing it.
Oh, I mean, you've been killing it. Definitely not me.
What's the story with your cat?
Oh, Applejack. He actually found me, or not me. He found our porch. So
Aww.
he stayed out on our porch for like a couple of nights, and he was like a little bit haggard, very tiny, and he ended up just like putting out food and blanket and like just waited around to see if like he belonged to anyone. And a couple days went by, a couple weeks went by, and he was still there. So I ended up like taking him to the vet, and he like became mine. So
cool story.
Yeah.
Applejack.
Yeah.
Same with my cat. We found her under the car when my dad found it.
Oh my god. Aww. I love how he's just like laying on your bag.
That's really cute. Alright, we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time to do
Thank
this.
you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate this a lot. A lot of fun.
Let's wrap with this.
Cool.
Oh, maybe I should start doing this. One of my favorite podcasts is like, are there any charities you like to plug? If not, that's cool, because I just thought to ask that.
Wait,
Ask
you mean like
time.
if I would support any
Yeah.
charities? Definitely a lot of, I feel like I don't really have a lot of money to really unfortunately support a lot of organizations. I mean, I wish I could, but definitely like honestly the most well-known one would definitely just be like Planned Parenthood. But if I am supporting anyone, or anything, it definitely would be like any of my friends. If they like are in like desperate need of something, or if like there's like some sort of like health issue, or like anything towards the arts. Definitely like putting money into something like that, as opposed to, you know, if you do put your money towards an organization, sometimes it's like a weird party that you're like unsure if like your money is actually going to be taken to the right into the right hands. So
that's a good point.
What about you?
Support your people because nobody else is going to.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I also don't know what I would say besides Planned Parenthood because I saw we're recording in on like what's today, June 17th, and I saw on Instagram that some senators or like government people signed this thing that said that Planned Parenthood like enables sex workers because they serve people without asking anything about their information. Like they'll give people services anonymously, which is like unimaginably ignorant. So that is pertinent right now. Support Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Wait, what podcast was that?
Honestly, I forget.
Yeah.
I think it was Shane Moss, his podcast. I forget what it's called, but he's a comedian who like takes a lot of drugs and he interviews scientists about the research and stuff. It's a really good podcast.
Whoa.
I'll recommend it. I'll put a link.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah,
I definitely have been like obsessed with Ear Hustle. It's definitely one of my favorite podcasts as of right now, and I'm definitely well up to date with it. But
maybe that would be a better question for the podcast.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm working it out. Anyway, thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
Thanks to Shannon.
Yeah,
and support your people because no one else is going to. Okay, bye.
Bye.